You're married, you're in a relationship, there's ups and downs, but sometimes you feel like it's really not working. You feel that the other person is very critical on you. It may even seem that the other person doesn't even understand your feelings or want to understand them. You could be living with a narcissist. In today's video, I'm going to offer 15 signs that you are living with a narcissist and how to understand that and how to see it for what it is. Hey friends, today I want to talk about narcissism. Are you living with a narcissist? Many of us are in long-term relationships, been married for years and years, and we have the ups and downs. But sometimes it can seem that the other person is hypercritical. It seems as though they need a lot of admiration and we seem to not get any. It seems that the other person doesn't have that much empathy. And so in today's video, I want to offer the 15 signs that you may be living with a narcissist. Now, I want to explain something real quick. Narcissism is obviously a spectrum disorder. So if someone has a lower level of the traits that I'm going to bring up in today's video, it's easier to live with them. So it's less problematic and less to deal with. And it's a lot easier to kind of get to an understanding, right? However, when somebody might have more of these traits that I'm going to be talking about in today's video, it can be very challenging and they can be suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. So let's dig in right now and let's look at those 15 signs so you can understand what they are and maybe get a little bit more understanding on what's happening in your family dynamic. Real quick, narcissists have this self-esteem thing, right? It's like this massive ego to the outside world. And to the outsider, it seems like this person has it all figured out, right? It's like this self-inflated ego. But in the inside, these folks are really suffering from low self-esteem, right? They have that inner voice that's the judge, jury, and executioner, like many of us do who might be codependent or recovering codependents, right? But they also have that as well, but they don't show it. Okay, so most of the narcissists who are narcissists now were actually raised by narcissists as well. And so you can kind of see how that dynamic progresses, right? And so a lot of the folks that have narcissism, their parents kind of use them as the shiny object. When the kid was doing something great that made the parent look good, then all of a sudden the kid was that parent's child. But other than that, if it wasn't interesting, they really didn't get a lot of attention, a lot of love. And so you know, growing up in that dynamic really does create this, as well as having the genetic predisposition, as well as the environmental component too. So I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that this is kind of the origin of it, right? So let's start into these 15 signs. The first indication that you may be living with a narcissist is the fact that they have a lack of empathy. I know that many of you watching my channel and watching this video right now are extremely caring. You feel for everybody around you, right? And so it's very interesting how this other person doesn't seem to have that empathy. And you can tell. And it's very different from how you are. And so it can kind of be a little overwhelming because it doesn't seem like they're empathetic for you or understanding of you. And it kind of feels like when you're trying to explain your feelings to that person that there's kind of a wall there. And they just don't seem to get it. They don't understand what it's like to even think about walking in someone else's shoes. So that's definitely the first indication that you may be living with a narcissist. The second indication is that strong need for admiration. They want to be admired. They want to be told how great they are. And they want to be told that a lot. And so that can get a little overwhelming, you know, a little repetitive. The third indication is the sense of entitlement, right? That sense of entitlement and superiority to others. They're entitled, they come first, they're superior. It's like they've hung the moon, right? And everybody else is just kind of the servant to this person. And so that superiority complex is interesting. In the beginning, that might have been what brought you to this person because it seems like they had it all together. But then eventually you start kind of seeing through this mask, through this situation, and it gets irritating, it gets overwhelming, and it does seem like they are always number one. The fourth indication is manipulative and or controlling behavior. This is a calling card. Controlling, because they want to control everybody around them. And why is that? It took me a while to figure this out. They want to control everybody around them because they feel completely out of control. Okay, so they want to control you, they want to control the kids, they want to control everything they can because inside there's all this turmoil and they don't feel in control at all. Also, what happens when people try to control other people? They have to manipulate them to control them, right? So there's where the manipulation comes in. And there's more manipulation that is coming up here in just a little bit in this video, but that's definitely a sign that you're living with a narcissist. Number 5, higher levels of aggression. Yeah. They can be aggressive to get what they want. They can be aggressive when they feel that other people aren't paying attention to them, right? But when you flip the script, they're barely listening to half the stuff you're saying. And if they're somewhat listening, it's going in one ear and out the other, especially when it comes to feelings and emotions. The 6th indication is they have difficulty taking constructive criticism or feedback about their behavior, okay? If you make one comment about it, whoo, yeah, you're going to probably get the brunt of that. They do not like to have any criticism, even if it's constructive, right? Because they feel as though they've done nothing wrong. And they feel as though they are higher than us. But remember, that's all a mask, right? And so that's why the feedback hurts them so bad and they won't take it. It's not because that's all real. It's because it's this like paper, cardboard imagery of this person that has this massive ego and is better than everybody else. But really behind all that, it's not that way, right? And so they keep that wall up. And so if you're going to try to criticize or offer any sort of positive feedback, it's probably not going to be taken very well. Number 7, rarely if ever takes responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else's fault. Okay. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. When something happens, it's your fault. When something happens, it's the kid's fault. It's someone's fault, but it's not their fault. So it's definitely troubling to live with someone that's never going to take responsibility. Number 8, they focus on getting their needs met, and they usually ignore other people's needs. So, they take care of themselves first, right? Unless there's something that you need that they need as well, right? And if that's the case, then your need will be met. But if they have a different need that needs to be met, that's going to be taken care of first, and you're somewhere on the back burner. Much like number 7, number 9, the narcissist blames others when things go wrong. So when something goes wrong, they're going to blame you. Remember, they don't take responsibility for their actions. So they got to blame somebody. Somebody has to be the scapegoat, right? And it's not going to be them. Number 10, they are always right somehow. Somehow it seems like they are always right about everything, much like not taking responsibility for their actions. But see, this feeds the ego as well, right? This feeds the ego. It serves that self-inflated value, right? Because they're always right. They're always right, and you're not most of the time, okay? And usually you're only right if it actually appeals to them that you are right, okay? So again, remember, they're going to be right. They're going to have the right solution. They're going to be doing the right thing. And they're probably going to get on to you about how you're not doing what you need to be doing, because you need to be doing what they're doing because they're creating this, right? They're like the owners of the board game. They created the rules, so you got to follow the rules. Number 11, and this feeds into number 10, they are constantly telling you what to do. What you need to be doing, what's best for you, the things that you need to be focusing on, they're going to tell you exactly what that is, right? Like you can't figure it out for yourself. And you're going to hear what you need to be doing more often than you want to, probably about almost everything in your life. Whether it's down to the way that you keep your toothpaste and your toothbrush, to the way you cook or the way you chew. They're going to be telling you how you should be doing it based on the way that they think is the best for you to do it. Number 12, unwillingness to listen to what you have to say, especially if it has to deal with anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, right? Like about your emotions or things that they don't want to feel or things that you're going through that they just don't want to hear about because they're not interested because it has nothing to do with them, okay? So they'll either be unwilling to listen to it or they'll just sit there and just absolutely pay no attention whatsoever. So one way or another, it's pretty much unwilling to listen to it, but it's really based on what they care about, and it's kind of about how the world revolves around them. And so if you're not telling them how great they are all the time, then they're probably not listening. Number 13, lucky 13, unlucky 13, I don't know. But that is self-absorbed, right? So they have a tendency of being self-absorbed. The world rotates around them. It's about them. And it's kind of sad, really, because there's so much to take in this world, and especially in a good relationship, to be able to focus on other people and to care about other people. But because of that self-absorption and that lack of empathy, they're unable to really put anybody else first in their life except for themselves. Number 14, and this is a big one, you feel uncertain around them and you question yourself. It's a big one, because I know many people who are in relationships with narcissists who are very intelligent, very successful, very smart. But when they're at home with their partner, they question everything they do, right? Now, it's not to say that the narcissist isn't questioning what they do, right? But the folks who are not narcissists, it's like being around them. Because the narcissist is constantly questioning, why did you do this? Or why are you doing it this way? Or why don't you do it this way? Or what's wrong with you? Or haven't you thought about this? They're constantly questioning themselves in this relationship, and it really makes them uncertain. And it's interesting how that uncertainty in the relationship can take over into what? Work life? Friend life? Begin to be uncertain about what choices to make or what to do. And some of the simplest things, like where to eat, becomes this uncertainty, right? And so that's a big one, because if you're constantly feeling uncertain around your spouse, your partner, right, and you're questioning yourself a lot, it could be a direct reflection that you are living with a narcissist who's constantly questioning what you're doing. Last but not least, number 15, and I told you there'd be more manipulation on this list, right? Okay, they use gaslighting to manipulate you. It's a big deal. If you don't know what gaslighting is, because this is something that might be one of those aha moments for you, there are 2 videos that I've already created on this channel. Both of them are in the video section, and in the description below here we will put both links, both about gaslighting, and it'll really explain. So check out those videos too, because that can really help you to have that aha moment. But they use that gaslighting to manipulate you, and that's what leads to that whole uncertainty and questioning of yourself, right? Because the way that they present the manipulation, right? It makes you question your own validity, your own sanity, your own intelligence, right? And so this is a big calling card of the narcissist, because it's the way that they keep rotating the game around them, right? So if they keep you on your toes and they keep you guessing, they're in the power position. Okay, they're controlling the situation. What's the power position? It's control for them, right? They need to control everything around them because they don't know how to control themselves. Okay, their life is out of control. It's unmanageable for them. They're overwhelmed with it, so they try to control every single thing. It's almost like a board game. They're trying to control every facet of their life. You, the kids, whoever's around them. Okay, so this is a big deal. At this point, you may be saying, wow, Ashley, I am living with a narcissist. Or, you know what? I don't think I am living with a narcissist. I'm not exactly sure what they have or what I'm dealing with, but I know that I'm not that happy. We have other videos on the channel talking about anything from borderline to codependency to histrionic, so you might want to look at some of those videos. However, if you are living with a narcissist and you've watched this video and it seems par for the course, we have a new video coming out right after this video about how to live with the narcissist. Because once you're living with one, you have to make decisions. And some of us, because obviously there's different levels of narcissism, right? It's a spectrum disorder that I talked about earlier. And so somebody that might have only a few of the symptoms is a lot easier to live with. And definitely a relationship is worth working toward and trying to be successful with it. And so whatever we can do to try to keep the relationship going is awesome. And so definitely want to create that video so that you can get some insight into that, and that'll help you to understand ways of communication and making it easier to deal with when living with somebody that suffers with narcissism. So look forward to the next video here on narcissism. And in the meantime, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I love it when you subscribe. It makes me know that I'm doing the right thing and that you're really interested in the content. As well as like this video, give us a like on this video if you liked it. Share it with your family and friends because it can really get the word out for folks and it can really open their eyes to what they're dealing with. Last but not least, in the comments section below, if you're living with a narcissist, what are some of the other telltale signs that I didn't talk about in this video? Because I know I didn't cover all of them. If you don't mind putting those in the comments section to help the rest of our community, that would be really helpful and I would totally appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to live your true life.